So y'all obey Acts 2:38. This is what I also want to say. So, you know how these reprobates have been going to bat for their liars, right? Their false prophets, their false prophetess, right? I don't care who it is, right? What they fail to realize, these reprobates, is that God is true. And so because God feeds his sheep, the Lord Jesus only feeds his sheep, his word, that's how I know they're liars. Many of them are going to turn and they're going to obey Acts 2:38. And the reprobate is on their way to hell. You know what I mean? Because let me tell you something. See, the reprobates, the devil, let me tell you what the devil feeds his children in Christianity. I don't care what denomination. I'm going to give you an example. There was a little 10-year-old girl in the backwoods of the Carolinas. Her parents had passed away and she was raised by a praying grandmother. And every day that little girl would watch her grandmother wash her clothes by hand on the washing board. And she would say, "Grandma, when I get older, I'm going to become rich. And I'm going to take you away from this shed." Right? And the grandmother would say, "Oh, honey, if we continue to pray to the great God of heaven, to the Lord, he'll bless your dreams." Right? And that little girl would say, "God, if you bless my dreams, I'll give back to the kingdom." And that little girl grew up and she went and built a church in North Carolina. Then she built another church in South Carolina and she built a church in Georgia. And that little girl, she went and rescued her grandmother from that shed and bought her a brand new house. And that lady, her name was Madam C.J. Walker. See, the reprobates love that trash. The Lord Jesus don't allow his sheep to hear that trash. He says, preach the word. I don't want to hear about your wife, your children. I don't care if any of your family members die. I don't care if you're sick, you're tired. Preach the word. Be instant. That's all we get. That's how I know that many of these liars that claim they're having visions and dreams, that they're a prophet and a prophetess, that's how I know that they too are going to turn. If it's God's will, they're going to obey Acts 2:38. Then what are the reprobates going to say? They were going to bat so hard, right? Like, if you look at Little Promises, let me tell you about something about Little Promises if you haven't noticed. Little Promises has a beautiful disposition. She has something that I wasn't given. She just naturally has this beautiful disposition, and she's beautiful naturally. But you can tell somewhere along the line she has a great zeal for God. But the devil snuck in somewhere and has deceived her since. And guess what? We're going to pray that devil off of her. Yes, we are.